of them instead.
You know.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Keating,
Present.
Snellings,
Present.
Reinhardt,
Present.
Schrader,
Present.
Crum, Garacki,
Present.
Eichmann,
Present.
Saris,
Present.
Thank you. First up, we have approval of minutes from the regular meeting January 26th.
Move to approve meeting minutes from January 26th of 2026 as written.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Next up, we have public comments. If there's anyone who's not on the agenda and would like to come forward at this time and speak to a maximum of 5 minutes, please give your first name, last name, address, and ward.
Hello, everybody. Emily Rockwell, Youth Advisory Council Chair. We met last Wednesday, the 4th, at 7 o'clock at the fire station. I say we had a pretty productive meeting. We started off talking about how we're going to choose our next members for the Youth Advisory Council. We have decided that we're going to do applications, so it's an application process. We want to do the applications before spring break and then have them have interviews starting somewhere about April, midway through April into May to get that figured out. We are working on a presentation to where we can give it to the school board, we can give it to council, we can give it to just different clubs in town to where we can get our name out so that they can see that we are doing something. We talked about flags and logos, how we're going to do that. We're going to do it more of a coloring contest. We talked about the legislative forum. Grant Hafley and I will be going to that. Those are the two that we know for sure. Then we started talking about our back to school night again. We had that last year. We thought it went pretty well. Just kind of talked about, what we think went right, a day that we're going to do. We're going to do it the same thing we did last year, and it would be after the back to school night at school. So that would be like your 7th grade orientation and meeting your teachers. Figured we would do that at 8 to 10 at the pool, probably do another cornhole tournament. Then we talked about the crossing guards. You talked to our administration. We're going to get equipment ordered, and hopefully we're going to let Youth Advisory Council do it for the first week of that. We're going to start that after spring break till the end of the year to see how that rolls, what we need to fix for the next school year. And then I believe community members will be doing it in the morning, and then we'll be doing it after school. Then we just kind of talked about maybe some ideas how we can get volunteer time out there, how we can reach more community members, maybe like pushing snow, raking leaves, doing yard work, showing up to events like Gravel Dash, Mother's Day, like the Blue Barbecue, just to gain visibility for us. So I think that pretty much sums it up. Do you guys have any questions for me? Perfect. We meet.
Keep up the good work.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you.
Definitely.
Next meeting is February 25th.
Yep, and we will have the presentation ready then, so if you want to see our presentation,
At 7
first
o'clock?
off, it'll be
7
ready.
o'clock here? Or
Should
where's
be
it?
here.
Yes, it's here. Yep. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Good
you.
job. Would anyone else like to come forward at this time during public comments to speak to a maximum of 5 minutes? If you're not on the agenda, now's the time. Okay. Seeing none, we have no notices or hearings. We'll move into business and discussion items. First, we have the parking spot closure request from the EUCC.
This is for Soup Day for the Evangelical United Church of Christ. With the parking being so limited down in the area, we have a lot of students parking in front of the church now. We're asking if we could have some cones to block off.
Told me he's getting glasses.
This is yes. Like Highway 77 down to the police station on the west side, and then Highway 77 going north, halfway up on the Kester block, and then Elm Street going west of the church, halfway on both sides. If we could get some, well, I guess we got to get it approved first, but it'd just be for that Thursday, the 12th.
What are the hours you're thinking it would need to be blocked?
All morning, and then once the afternoon is there, we don't care about the evening so much.
Okay.
You know, so say 2, 3 o'clock, well.
We would
have
probably
that parking
start blocking it out off, 7 AM or night
For
before.
any students?
Yes.
Is there a
Yeah.
basketball game that night? Does anybody know, or some, I thought I saw something going on. We don't necessarily have that big of a crowd. We can thin a lot of stuff out, before that for parking.
Have you talked to the school at all?
We wanted to get this approved.
First.
And then if it gets
Gotcha.
approved, we'll mention it.
Okay.
I don't know why I'm talking.
Do we have enough cones?
We would have enough barricades.
Barricades at that point would be the guess.
We would have enough barricades or cones. Obviously cones would be a lot lighter for
Yeah,
volunteers to
if we could
move.
do cones, we could
Um,
get them picked up or something and get them set out that morning.
I would definitely get it communicated to the school so the kids know ahead of time. I think if they know, they won't park there.
And the school's, shown.
Or they'll know when not to move the cone and just park
The
there.
administrations, I know, talked to Marysville Mercantile, and they've been pretty good about trying to be as good neighbors as they can, given the situation. So,
And I asked them about the mercantiles, since they're open on Thursday, and they didn't plan on taking their parking
there's,
spot.
yeah. And those parking spots, I don't know if this is common knowledge, the parking spots in front of the Mercantile that are reserved, those signs were graciously be donated or placed there by the school.
Yeah.
As a sign of good faith and wanting to work with them, so, yeah.
Move to approve the request.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I knew what you meant. All good. Next up, we have, City Park camping spot closure for the MHS FFA Drive Your Tractor to School Day.
I'm Emily Rockwell, our FFA chapters reporter.
I'm Braden Price, our FFA Chapter Sentinel.
So FFA Week, National FFA Week is Saturday, the 21st of February through Saturday, the 28th. So we are going to have Drive Your Tractor to School Day on Monday, February 23rd. We're requesting it to be shut from 8 a.m. to 3:15 p.m.
That's
And
for RVs and tents, or the whole park?
All of that will be, we would block off all of it, from just after the playground area.
We've done this several,
Yeah.
couple years now, haven't we? Yeah.
Basically from the Simmons entrance, right?
Yes.
Move to approve the request.
Second.
Okay, it's moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
There still will be a few tractors due to practice after 3:15, but there won't be many, so. Thank you.
And
Thank you.
we'll
I don't think the
start,
PD can tow them anyway, so.
Thank you.
we'll close that road on, Sunday after dark, so that way it's clear, and we'll put up, signs ahead of that, so that way if anybody comes in earlier in the week, then they'll know. Yep.
Okay. Great.
Perfect.
Next up, we have the MES AirPack X3 Pro SCBA quote for the fire department. That's a mouthful.
Don Ballman, Marysville Fire Department Chief. I'd like to purchase 6 air packs for the amount of $56,204.16. They're very light, newer ones that we got the last time are light, very nice. The old ones we got, pretty heavy. Once you get into a house fire and the next day, you're feeling it. So,
How many new ones do you have, Dawn?
how
This
many?
past year, we
We had
just
6.
ordered.
Well,
some.
3,
Yep.
and now we're asking for 6.
6.
I think, I was figuring up today in my head, I think we actually have about 30 all total with the old ones.
Okay.
I was thinking about cutting that down, but
I think this request has been on the budget for, like, a
It's
requested
budgeted,
item
right?
on the budget for probably 3 years now at least.
And there was a
Yeah,
grant.
yeah.
3, 4 years.
Yeah, so, last year we went ahead and purchased those 3, and those were, we had budgeted for a certain amount, and we went ahead and spent about that amount, and then this year we budgeted 56,000, for these air packs. So this is 56.2. We actually budgeted for 4 air packs, and we're getting 6 for $200 extra.
I'll make a motion to approve the request.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you.
And Don, while you're here, quick question. So, we had a police and fire committee meeting recently, and it
Right.
occurred to us that we don't really, as the governing body, meet with the fire department very often. The next time we schedule one, could we see if you're available to come
Yes.
talk to us as well?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, that'd be great. Thank you.
Yep.
Thanks, Don.
All right, next up we have Frontier Development Group, Tyler Holloman.
Mayor and council, good evening. My name's Tyler Holloman. I sent a letter to Josh that I believe was included in your packet that I'd like to discuss tonight. The letter kind of outlined the request that we have before you, which is to consider revising the lease term and accelerating that into just a purchase option. What I tried to do in that letter is kind of outline the reasoning for that request. But what I thought would be helpful for you, since hopefully you've all had a chance to read the letter, is I thought I'd just take a minute and kind of just start from the beginning with where we've been at with this project and kind of how we got to where we are today. So I put together a quick timeline. This process first started back in 2023. That was the first time that we actually toured the Kester Block buildings and came here to Marysville and met actually with several of you. In February of 2024, almost exactly 2 years ago, this body put out an RFP looking for developers to reimagine and see what would be possible with the Kester Block. Our group responded to that RFP, and in April of 2024, we were selected again by this body to be the developer to start the due diligence process. During that presentation, I actually went back through and reread some of the public comment and looked at our own internal numbers. And at that time, we were projecting somewhere between a $2 and $2.5 million budget for the project that we had envisioned, which was turning the upper floors into housing. The next several months of 2024, up until October, we had a lot of discussions with you all and with the city attorney and came up with what was initially approved, which was the land lease that we have with you currently. And then we very quickly turned around and started submitting for funding sources. That brought us into February of 2025. So right at a year ago, we received funding by way of an MIH, a KHITC, and a CDBG award. So pretty significant funding that we were pretty excited about. Again, that was announced in February of 2025, so right at a year ago. That allowed us to accelerate into our construction planning. So we started working with CES on a full set of construction plans to develop the upper floors in a historically appropriate manner into 12 apartment units. In June of 2025, we received a rooms grant from the Department of Commerce, so additional funding specifically for the residential apartments. And then shortly thereafter, we became aware of a new interpretation by the state fire marshal of how downtown residential apartments were being reviewed. I won't go into a lot of detail over that. That's actually a pretty public process right now. There's a lot of communities dealing with similar issues that we encountered here. And so understanding that was going to be an issue, we approached the state fire marshal and we directed CES Group to hire a code consultant to help navigate those conversations. So we paid for that code consultant. We approved CES to go through and work with them and to submit the plan set that we had for the Kester Block to the state fire marshal. And we began working on contingency plans So most of fall of last year, we were working on just different contingency plans for what we could do with being able to overcome some of the issues that we had encountered with the fire marshal. We considered removing the third floor from the project scope, which would require quite a few amendments to the grant agreements. We also considered eliminating the elevator from the plan set. That was about close to a $200,000 cost estimate to put an elevator in. So we're looking at ways that we could incorporate the sprinkler system that the fire marshal was requiring and still get the project done. And then I also began the process of trying to find a federal credit investor that would invest in the federal credits for the project. Usually for our projects, we don't sell the federal credits because they're very nuanced, they're very difficult to sell. They have to be done at the IRS level. It has to be over a 5-year period. It's just a very, very complex process. But we began looking at that, trying to figure out, just make sure we were turning over every stone we could to see the project to fruition. And then in January, so last month of this year, we received a commitment for the federal credits. And so that's not a final commitment, but we do have an executed term sheet with a fund that specializes in federal credits. That represents about a $450,000 equity investment into the project, which is substantial and has allowed us to see a path forward for the project. Where the project stands today, we are just over a $4.2 million budget. So we've received all of our bids back. We've bid everything that we could locally, and then with all of just different subcontractor networks that we have. So we've received all of those bids back. Budget as it stands is just over $4.2 million. We do currently have all 12 units planned in that $4.2 million amount. So we have 12 total residential units, a mix of 1 and 2 bedroom units on both floors 2 and 3. So we do have the third floor in the scope of work. We did also include in that number an elevator. So we do have an elevator on the back side of 901 that would service all of floor 2. The third floor, there was no way to get an elevator to, but all of the second level, which would be 10 units, would be serviced by an elevator. And then also in that number is fire marshal approved plans, which includes a full commercial level sprinkler system throughout the entire main floor, as well as the basement. So one of the big things with the code that the fire marshal is using is that commercial levels, even if they're not being disturbed, commercial under residential must have a commercial sprinkler system, which is very pricey to put in. And all areas, whether they're occupied or not, must be sprinkled. So we'll have all of the first floor sprinkled, as well as all of the basement sprinkled with a new fire line to the building. Also in that number is new roofs. As we've gotten into the due diligence on this, all 3 of the roofs are in worse shape than we initially thought. 2 of them are substantially past their useful life. The third one is questionable, so we've included numbers to replace all the roofs. And then some of our funding also requires accessibility improvements to the main level. So we will have historically approved accessibility improvements to some of the doorways, some of the sidewalk entrances, all of the alley side. And then lastly, that also includes all new infrastructure. So everything, all of the sewer mains, the water lines, the new fire lines, will all be upgraded. All of the electrical will be buried. So all of the overhead lines that you see currently on the alley, that will all go underground. That will not only be a safety improvement, but will also substantially clean up that alley and just make the backsides of those buildings cleaner. The funding secured has been pretty substantial. I just wanted to kind of run through the list. To date, we have received approval for a RHID district, for industrial revenue bond sales tax exemption. We've received a community development block grant award, a moderate income housing grant, a Kansas Housing Investor Tax Credit allocation, a revolving loan fund award, shovel funds from the Department of Commerce, a rooms grant from the Department of Commerce, and then most recently, a commitment for both the federal credit and the state tax credit equity. And I say all that to just say I'm proud of the work that our team has done to really go after every funding source that we could find, and then try to leverage every resource that we could to make this project a reality. The request that I have before you tonight is to revise the lease agreement to accelerate it into just a straight purchase agreement. The main reason for that request is to simplify the federal credit fund investment into this deal. The federal credit process, everybody says selling, you can't really sell federal credits. They have to be used by an investor in the building. So this fund will actually come in as a limited partner into the project. It's a very nuanced process. There's a pretty strict set of due diligence processes that they will go through before they invest into these projects. We still have all operational control, so we'll still remain the general partner of the development. We'll have, I would be the one appearing before you for any sort of decisions on design, management, long-term operation. That all remains our commitment. But this fund would come in as a 99% limited partner to utilize the tax credits. By abandoning the lease agreement and going with the purchase agreement, it would simplify that process for their approval. And again, I hesitated to even send that letter because I did not want to appear like we are coming back and trying to renegotiate agreement or renege on something that we had previously committed to. But I did feel like it was prudent to make this request because the project has changed substantially. And hopefully you see that we are committed to seeing this through. I believe in Marysville. I believe in this project. We have spent a lot of time and a lot of money up until this point, so we want to see this through as well. But we're just trying to figure out how to overcome a almost doubling of the project budget and still get this to the finish line. So I've been rambling a lot, but I'd be happy to answer any questions that you all have. Again, I know this is a big request, but I do believe we are very close to the finish line of getting this project permit ready and being able to actually start construction.
Do you have a purchase price
It's a good question. So obviously the lower the better for the project. So our initial pro forma had a $10,000 upfront payment for the lease structure. I think we would be comfortable extending that purchase price. I don't know that we could go a whole lot above that $10,000 mark, which I know is a nominal number. But we're just trying to figure out how to get that $4.2 million project done.
So as it stands now, under the current agreement, do we have to be the second insurer on the liability of the structure aside from the sidewalk?
Yeah, so the way the lease structure stands now is you guys the city does not have to maintain any building insurance, but you do have to maintain a general liability policy.
So the city does have some exposure as a second insured from the liability standpoint.
There would be an ongoing expense there, yeah.
Okay.
I know we discussed this quite a bit as far as leasing option versus purchase option. There were a lot of concerns with losing the ability to keep that accessible should this thing not work out and things. I know that was a huge concern. This was a gift to the city, and I know the biggest concern we all saw was making sure that we understand that was a gift and we don't want to lose access to it and ruin the idea of the gift. So I know we talked about this quite extensively. I know we had a lot of hours about talking about that.
That was going to be one of my questions, is what would the clawback, I guess, for us look like? Just to, as Chris is saying, to protect ourselves and our community for maintaining control of the...
And maybe to add to that question, I'm assuming the way that the funding that you're getting requires you to make sure that it remains historically accurate from the outside, the facade and everything, and part of the inside and stuff. And
Yep. Yep, so I'll try to address all three. I think in regards to the gift and the initial, or with the family ties, I have spoken with members of the family, and I would encourage all of you to do so as well. But I do believe they're supportive of this request that we're making tonight. In terms of the clawback, I don't know that there's a good way to add a clawback in perpetuity, but what I think the city attorney or even our attorney could do is create some sort of clawback mechanism where if we do not deliver a CO within a certain time frame, or even what we've done, like in the city of Manhattan, is we've had to verify investments. So it could be an investment amount where, if we don't reach a certain threshold, then there could be a claw that the purchase basically reverts back to the city. So I think to answer the clawback directly, that could be addressed just in the short term during a construction period to make sure we say what we're going to do, that we get the units in, that we reach a level of investment, and that we get a certificate of occupancy issued. And then, yes, to Jeff's point, the the tax credits that we're going to use require that these buildings be maintained in a historically compliant way, even more so than the lease. So the lease agreement, the most teeth that the lease agreement had was the historic nomination. Well, those are going to be used and leveraged by us as a significant funding source for this project. So we can't, even lease, sale, no matter what structure we use, we're going to be beholden to those, the state and national registry requirements to make sure we don't do something that's out of compliance. I actually, as part of this federal fund, I have to sign a personal guarantee to the fund that we don't do anything that jeopardizes their investment and their federal credits, or I have to personally write them a check for their $400,000, $500,000 investment, which I do not plan on doing. So we're not. That is all going to be governed by powers at the state and the national level, and then. Further, we have grant funding that does require that we maintain these at an affordable level and in a safe and code compliant manner. So we won't be able to come in, we would be out of compliance with our grant terms, and we would be subject to recapture at the state level by the state housing agency if we came in and quit maintaining the property or started doing something that was unsafe or started leasing them to non-qualified tenants. So all of those levels of oversight exist just by nature of the funding sources that we're using.
I guess one other, it really doesn't pertain to what we're talking. I assume that, like, as far as the maintenance of the facility, you're going to try to find somebody local to maintain that. So it's not like we have a problem, a resident has a problem and it takes them a week to get somebody there to.
Right, yep, we will work with local tradesmen as much as possible. So yep, we'll usually, most of the communities we work in, we will try to establish a relationship with a plumber and with an HVAC company at minimum. Those are usually the two issues that we come across. Some of the handyman and like routine housekeeping stuff we'll also outsource to somebody local if that's an option. In some communities, we've had trouble finding cleaners. And so if that's the case here, we have people that we'll send on a routine basis. The good thing about cleaning is that doesn't have to happen right away, but certainly plumbing and HVAC calls, those will be dispatched locally.
I have a question. So the investor you talked about that would need to be involved in order for those credits to work, what kind of entity is that usually? Is that an individual, a bank, a private equity group? What is that?
Yep, a little bit of both. So it's not an individual. So the fund that we're working with is a fund out of Kansas City, and that's all they do is invest in, they call them small deals. So anything that's under $10 million is considered a small deal. So our $4 million deal is a small deal for them, but they have what's called a small deal historic tax credit fund. And then they go out on their end and they have banks and other high net worth individuals that invest in their fund. The fund then invests in these historic deals and utilizes the tax credits and passes those on to their investors.
I mean, the reason I ask is I've got way too much experience with private equity groups, and sometimes it's all about squeezing the resource to extract what they can, and then they leave and it's a mess.
Yep.
So that's why I'm very curious.
Yep, nope, that's a very good point, and that's usually why we don't sell the federal credits. Now, I do have, this particular fund has a long-standing track record. They're not a new shop. They have invested and successfully exited a lot of investments really across the Midwest. They're not just doing this in Kansas. But yes, we typically do not use a fund just because it is, there are transactional costs that we are going to incur. So over the 5-year period that this fund will be in this deal, we will have to pay them an asset management fee, and we will have to pay them a priority return that goes back to their investment on their capital. But there was just no other way for us to get the deal done without getting that equity in.
I know you said you've tried to kind of avoid using the federal tax credits. Have you worked with this specific fund group and any of the times when you have had to use them?
Not as an investor. Now, principals in this fund, I have a relationship with and are familiar with their work. But yeah, this would be our first time utilizing this fund structure.
I know this project, first and foremost, was to revitalize structures that were needing revitalization and creating affordable housing for people, and also utilizing the lower levels to sustain the businesses that are already here and also attract new businesses to come. And I know you touched on it a little bit. I just want to delve a little more deeper into it. You said the affordability portion shouldn't change that much. In all of this, and I just got to say I appreciate the work behind the scenes, and that's one of my primary reasons for having you come tonight, is just to notify the people. Just because they haven't seen cranes and destruction and things doesn't mean there hasn't been a lot of work been done, so I appreciate you coming to share that with us tonight. But I've had a lot of businesses, I mean, I wouldn't say worried, but because this project is about double of the amount, how much higher or have your price projections increased for apartment costs and the business rental fees?
Yeah, also a great question. So the easy answer is no on the commercial side. So we've really studied the commercial leases, and they are under market for sure, but they're not so drastically under market that we're going to have to come in and immediately jump rates. So our plan, and I have sent my contact information out to all of the main level businesses, but I just haven't had a whole lot of updates to give them because there's been so much, as you mentioned, so much behind the scenes work, and we haven't had that firm date yet. But my plan is to go out as soon as we can get a actual construction date, and to set up meetings with them and talk to them about what the construction process looks like, and then be in communication with them about what their renewal process will look like. I have been upfront since the beginning that rates, rent will have to go up some, but we don't anticipate the commercial, throughout all this process, my commercial underwriting has stayed the same, so we've not actually adjusted the rates at all. On the residential side, we're still trying to evaluate exactly what that would be. Those are probably going to tick up some, so we're probably, I think my initial estimates was around an $800 a month average. That probably is coming up some. We manage, I think we've got close to 600 homes that we manage kind of in the greater Manhattan region, and it's even in small towns across Kansas, rent's just coming up. Taxes are up, insurance is up, utilities is up. Now, having said that, we still have the state mandate to make sure that they are affordable, so we still can't exceed 30% of the resident's income. We still have to rent to qualified households, so we're still renting to people that are making between 60% and 150% of the area median income. So I guess the more nuanced answer is the rent rate, the residential rent rates may tick up, but they'll still be maintained at an affordable rate.
And the original lease agreement was basically, was it a 39-year lease?
It had to be a little bit over 39. I think it was 40, because 39 and a half.
And at the end of the day, the city was going to get $10,000.
Right.
Yeah.
So I make a motion to proceed with, from the legal standpoint of selling the property, the Frontier Development, so we can keep this project moving forward at a rate of $10,000.
To clarify the motion, your motion is to explore.
No, the motion is to sell the property for
To sell,
$10,000 and to go ahead and move forward with the legal process of canceling the lease and getting a purchase agreement signed. Is that to the point?
I think I understand what you're saying, yes. So there's a motion on the table.
Yeah.
I'll second it.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. So we can have some more discussion if you'd like.
Yeah, I mean, to Kyle's point, I think we should at least explore options of a clawback or something in there so we're not.
So that's a question. I know we talked a little, I know, of course, you'd love to have it signed and sealed tonight. I would too if I were you. What is your timeline here? I mean, what is your want for a timeline and what is your full stop, drop dead date?
Well, so my want tonight would be to get direction from this body. I recognize that without an actual contract to approve, you can't, officially bless the contract. But my hope would be that I get direction from you all tonight, that is a direction that you are willing to go. And then I would expect that legal would, there'd be some back and forth between our counsel and your attorney on the purchase agreement and the clawback language. So that would be ideal. If that does not happen, we do have, I think I've heard your next meeting's the 25th.
It'll be the 23rd.
The 23rd. We would need probably to have action at that meeting. So we have executed, as I mentioned, the term sheet with the federal credit investor. And that kicked off, we paid a $10,000 retainer for their attorney to begin doing due diligence. We expect to have that due diligence finished sometime in March. So I would just need to know before that due diligence is finished if this is going to be a route or not.
My comment here would be, I think that if the council's wishes to move forward in premise, I think there would need to be a little bit of instruction to council and back and forth on what that agreement would actually look like in regards to the clawback comments, et cetera. I don't know, one way or another.
A simple way to put it, could the city have first right of refusal to purchase, you're gonna spend 4.2. So could we have, obviously, I don't think the value of it's gonna go down. I would hope not.
Well, actually, that's a good point, Jeff. So I got the commercial appraisal came back today for this, and it's appraised as complete at $1.5 million. And so that part of that is helped by tax credits and grants. But yeah, that's why this is a challenging endeavor.
I guess my point being is, one, the property since it was gifted to us, has cost us a lot of money. And we don't have the funds to maintain it the way it needs to be maintained. Two, we have an opportunity to beautify the property as it stands now, because you look at it pretty closely, it really doesn't look that great. Three, we know we have a problem with housing. Four, we got a spot where we're gonna have a 1 or 2 bedroom apartment that has an elevator to it for somebody that's 70 years old that just wants to have an apartment. And look at what we have to, I know what my employees have to pay for rent.
Oh.
They're paying $800-900 for a bungalow that should be torn down.
Or more. And I grant you that's true.
So I don't think we want to turn this into something, let's wait for another meeting, Let's move forward with the process, wash our hands of it, and move on. He's not going to put this kind of money into it.
Right.
If he's not going to be successful.
And I think we can do that, and I agree on every one of your points. And I think most everybody here does. This was never about money. It was about all these other laudable goals. And I think that's all still in place. But I think all things with a dram of caution, I want to make sure our attorney is present via Zoom. that we make sure we have those ducks in a row. I know first right of refusals, and I'll let Luke speak to the law since I'm not a lawyer nor am I practicing law, but I think first right of refusal language can be pretty difficult to engineer, whereas the certificate of occupancy language makes a lot of sense, because I think that's easier to engineer.
Well, he has to have that to have tenants
Well, I know, but I'm
occupy.
saying in the clawback language. I don't want us to say we're just gonna do it and not give Luke instructions, because I
Yeah.
think then we'll see a version.
That was my motion to move forward to let the legal guys get it worked out and bring a contract to us.
How are we gonna add some specificity to the instructions we give Luke and draft?
Well, I think you're putting too much into this, Todd.
I don't think.
I
there's
really
such
think
a
you
thing.
are, and I think there's a motion on the floor, and I think it ought to go to vote.
Well, that's absolutely your right to believe that right now, but I want more discussion, and I'm the boss. So, what I'm saying is.
You don't have a vote.
I don't have a vote, but I have the veto power of my position at the moment. All I'm saying is, we should be cautious in making sure that we give the proper instructions so that when this comes back, we have the document we want to approve, and we can move forward if that's the wishes of the council.
And then we don't have to go another meeting if the language is
I'm on board with this,
right,
but I'm on board with this with those proclivities. What
And
other
that was
discussion
my
is there?
question. Does Luke have any concerns that he's?
Right, so let's.
Yes, so Luke, do you have any comments? Can you weigh in?
Yep, mic check, 1, 2, all good?
Ooh, boy, that sounds pretty rough.
Josh, you might see if you can mute so there's no echo. Check now.
Move to the computer audio.
Go ahead and try again.
You can bend the mic down to the computer.
Okay.
How about now?
Try it again.
Check, check.
I think it's on better.
Find the speaker.
Technology. Uh-oh, you got unplugged, I think.
Now we're unplugged.
Uh-oh,
Always something.
mm-hmm. There he is. The speaker out in front of it.
As many mics as we can toward it. You've seen.
I think, is that, no, it's just cooling. I don't know.
I don't see
I think there was a speaker over here. Okay, Luke, can you talk right quick?
Yep.
There we go. Good job, Mayor.
Speaker.
Thank you. First off, I apologize, can't be there in person tonight. Had another commitment, but I was there to hear the whole discussion with Mr. Hallman. And regarding the motion on the floor, I think, I understand the spirit of what we're trying to do here. The real concern for me is that we just make sure that we have no obligations if something would be breached. So given that, I think I can look at it both from the right of first refusal perspective and a clawback perspective and bring you options going forward. It really will just depend on what I and other council can come to terms with. But I think both of those options, we can look at that. Depending on the lease agreement, the clawback may or may not be advantageous to us. So it's just something I'll have to review, but it's something that, I can bring back to you. As far as, whether a right of first refusal will be difficult, I don't think that should, if that is a good option to have, I don't think it'll be difficult to draft that and have that filed on the property. But I think I just need to review it in light of the agreement that we have at present, and I think the conclusion of what we want to do, or it sounds like what the council wants to do, is pretty clear. So really, I just want to make sure that if we are, selling it for that $10,000 price, that one, we make sure that we know the obligations that we would have if we would have a clawback, and just any obligations we may have or be breaching, so on and so forth, with the agreement now. So I just want to read those two documents, the proposed document and the lease agreement we already have in conjunction, and I think we can move forward with it.
So what is your timeline that you would need to review this? I think if we need to have a special meeting between now and the next meeting to review what you put together, that way we are ready at the next meeting to take action if this vote goes forward and is approved. Will you have time to kind of put this together in time for us to have a special meeting in a week or so?
Sure. I would think, though, however, I believe would Frontier Development Group's attorney be wanting to draft the agreement for I to review? I mean, I think it's probably something where they might have more skin in the game to propose. I mean, I can, of course, draft a purchase agreement and a termination of that lease, but I think, you know, given the variables Mr. Hallman said, it might be something more advantageous for them to draft first, but I'll leave that,
Tyler?
I'll bat that.
Yeah, I'd be, if it would help, I'd be happy to have our council prepare the documents for Luke's review. Yeah.
And you could have it sent over probably pretty promptly for us.
Yep.
Like I said, and Luke, I mean, if there's questions, obviously you can communicate with their attorney, as well as Josh and I, so we can move it forward. I mean, I don't think, I don't love having special meetings a lot, but I think this is appropriate, so that way we don't come to the next meeting and feel like we have to make the decision then, so we can keep the process moving forward like Jeff said. So does that sound reasonable, Luke?
Yes, I did not hear, I think Mr. Holman's mic might have been switched, you know, now.
He did say that he could, their attorney could draft and get to you the proposed language for the agreement.
Okay, and what do you say for a timeline?
By the end of we have by the end of this week.
By the end of the week?
Okay, yep, that's fine.
Okay, thank you.
I just want to make one thing clear. I don't want it to seem like I'm holding things up. My biggest concern is protecting the spirit of the gift and making sure that we're making appropriate decisions to protect the community. I haven't seen it myself, but I've heard horror stories of big development groups coming in, making a lot of promises, doing something, then we end up with $2 million a month apartment. That's my only concern, is just to honor the citizens with what was promised. And it sounds like with the funding that Tyler has been given, that the state and the federal level and things, the funding that he has to stick to certain portions, so that makes me actually feel a lot better. And I know that was said in the previous discussions, but as you're aware, this is a lot of moving parts, a lot of information, so sometimes things get dropped in the back.
And I think an important thing to remember at the end of the day, 35, 40 years ago, a very prominent attorney in this town made mention that the best thing we could do was give it back to the family, and obviously the family's not going to take it back.
Right.
But we have the right, because of the gift, or we, you know, not the right, but we have a responsibility, because it was a gift, to maintain it, and we don't have the means to maintain it properly. This is the opportunity to let the property be maintained, and, you know, for generations to come. Because at the rate it's going now, it's not going to be generations to come.
No,
We'll have a roof fall in, and
That was gonna be part of my comment too, is that, you know, part of us assuming that gift is also doing right by the family and the gift. And I feel like this is our best opportunity to allow this to happen, all while basically covering every point that Jeff made as far as housing, beautification. I think that this is something, I know that they have done a ton of work, and my fear is that this, if we don't move this forward, obviously it may not happen, and then we're left with this building with three roofs that two that are non-functional, one marginal at best. So that's my big fear. But yeah, I will say that's.
And I'll say also, we picked Tyler and his group for a reason.
Correct.
Obviously, it was the best decision. By this information, and I really appreciate you coming tonight, because it's brought to light a lot of things that have been happening behind the scenes that most people had no, you know, we haven't heard anything, but that doesn't mean stuff isn't happening. So I appreciate you taking the time, grabbing all the funding you can, figuring out other options. You know, maybe a lesser development group would have just ran and said, the heck with it, we don't want nothing to do with it. So I appreciate the professionalism, the time you put into it, and being willing to stick to it and make this happen.
Thank you. if I could just.
Sure,
Can I?
sure.
Okay. To the comments that have been made tonight, what we will do, if this vote advances, is I'll instruct our attorney to include references. We did this recently in another community where we included references in the agreement that goes to Luke, that states right in the purchase agreement that will maintain affordability consistent with the KHRC funding, that will maintain historic integrity consistent with the grant funding, with the tax credits. So we'll incorporate all of that into the agreement that Luke gets to review.
Is there any other comments before this goes to vote?
One more. I know my mouth is open and it's just the way it is. I have been approached by some of the business owners that, not because they're feel for youth, this is all new to them. But I would just say, have your crew or whoever is going to be communicating with them during the process as it goes forward, just, I guess, do your best to show them that your mind is on also allowing them to still keep business going without there's going to be interruptions, just the way it is with this project. But I would just say do your best to communicate with them so that they understand you're willing to work with them and try your best to keep things at a minimum. Because there were some that were just not like upset or anything, but just a little worried because it's a new project.
It's all very valid worries, and I will certainly keep them posted. And to that point, I do want to just make sure that I say publicly, and I will say to them that the scope of the first floor work has increased pretty substantially just due to the fire marshal requirements. And so I'll be working very closely with them. And I don't say that to alarm anyone, but I want to make sure that I say that to you all, that, initially when I was up here, I told you that it would be pretty minimally disruptive. And that was the $2.2 million budget. We have a $4.2 million budget courtesy of the fire marshal now, so it will have to be in there quite a bit with them. But we will, of course, be very professional and do our absolute best. Everything will be communicated in advance, and we'll work very closely with them.
And you did say that you had negotiated with the fire marshal, so the tin ceilings on the third floor and stuff can be saved, a lot of that architectural detail, thankfully, because originally that was going to have to be
So CES Group and our code consultant led the efforts with the fire marshal to negotiate they did not back down from the fire sprinkler requirements. So the big ticket item, they did not budge on due to the fact that Marysville has a volunteer fire department. Even though it's right down the road, they would not issue a variance for that. But we did get them to back off. Originally, the fire marshal came back and said, no, rip down all of the historic ceilings, rip down the tin ceilings, put up a 2-hour firewall separating the units, and fully sprinkle everything. So we got them to back off of that. So the historic tin will still stay, but it'll just have to be sprinkled.
And this is all coming from the state. So the fact that we have a new fire marshal every year is not going to change that fact.
Yeah, no, this is
that
all.
Was another comment somebody made to me. Well, let's just wait till the next fire marshal comes in. Wanted to make sure that was clear.
Yep.
Okay.
I don't think it's the fire marshal. I think it's the co-fire marshal.
It's not the local. It's the it's the state offices.
It's too bad they don't talk to SHPO more often. They should have more lunches and they could be a little more cohesive.
There's some friction. Yeah.
All right. Any more comments?
From what I remember when we first started this, the first thing that you said was that we weren't making enough money on this. We were losing money, quite a bit of money every year or every month, whatever. And I got the feeling the consensus then was what we did, just go find a group that would invest in it and go from there. Well, we have this group now, we see the numbers, and now I've got the feeling that people are some on board and some aren't. I get that feeling, but.
You're basically the same as Jeff. The problems that brought us here are still there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and they're going to remain. They're going to remain or get worse. We can't. We don't have the money to fix our roads. We definitely don't have the money to fix roofs. Oh no.
So all the grants you got listed right here. Is there any more in the future coming that you see?
I wish, and again, I hesitated to come before you tonight because you guys this has been a great body to work with. We've had a lot of community support, so I really did not want to come here and I have to ask you to change the deal structure. But part of the reason why we are here is we've kind of hit the end of the road with a lot of the grant sources. There's really no other, I mean, we've got our eyes on it, but there's really no other resources out there. The other issue we run into, and we're not at risk of it yet, but if this continues to slide, some of the funding sources that we've secured start dropping off because they have timelines. So we're trying to thread the needle here as tight as we can, and we've got a window here to save everything we've got. And I guess the other thing I didn't say earlier is, this $4.2 million budget, we're not going luxury, we're not, doing, way over the top crazy finishes, but we're really trying to put in a product that's gonna activate this building for the next 100 years. So we're not cutting corners, we're doing, not only is the full building gonna be sprinkled, it's gonna be insulated properly, the windows are gonna be, protected properly, all of the mechanical systems. It's really gonna set it up to where we're not cutting corners, it's gonna be a solid building moving forward. But yeah, we've kind of secured everything that's out there.
Okay, all right. Any further discussion? We'll move forward to vote. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
7-0.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you, Tyler.
I sincerely appreciate it, and again, you guys have been great partners, so I truly am excited about looking forward to moving forward and getting this construction underway. I did have, and sorry if I'm speaking out here and here.
No, it's fine.
Josh, one question, did we need to talk about the IRB extension at this meeting, or will that be something that'll be?
That'll be probably at the next meeting.
Okay, perfect,
And,
okay.
Yeah, please do keep up the good communication. We always appreciate that open communication, and don't take it personal. We're happy with what you're doing and with this project. We're still excited. We're just,
Nope,
trying
not at
to
all.
be cautious.
You guys are doing the due diligence you need to do, so yeah, certainly nothing personal on my end. I appreciate, again, the willingness just to work with us, and I'll do a better job at, trying to keep you guys posted. As you mentioned, Councilman, there's been a lot of work happening. It's just, I recognize the public doesn't see it because we haven't actually started construction, but we have been hard at work trying to get this thing to the finish line.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tyler.
Appreciate the
Thank you.
time.
Can we set up a special meeting for this?
Well, I was gonna say, do you
Let's
Let's
wait
get the
until we've got a
information.
draft.
See his council gets.
once the draft's together, then
See if
Sammy
it
and Josh
see
can.
if it's at the end of the
Yep.
week.
Yeah,
It'd
we
be
can
nice
get-
to get it done before the next.
That's right, exactly.
We don't want to hold them up any longer.
First.
Yeah, and just if there is any question, that gives us a chance for that final revision. All right, next up, we have one Marysville request for Jeff Siegler.
Before we get into Jeff Siegler, if you look at your tabled action items, number 5 would address some of your concerns that you were just talking about.
Yep.
Because currently, if anyone wanted to tear down a building in downtown Marysville, other than in that 900 block, they could. But our design committee has forwarded a demolition ordinance. We talked to you about this a while ago.
Yep.
And so if we could get that passed, that would alleviate some of the concerns that were mentioned.
If you don't mind, is that still under review by Luke?
Yeah, we still have it under review.
When are we expecting to have that back?
It might be some time. Really, what we're looking to do is, do we want it to be citywide? So that way we have, control over that, or are we just looking for downtown?
Does that need to come back then to the admin
To
finance?
admin finance, yes.
So that needs to be on the next admin finance agenda? Okay, can we make sure that gets added,
Yes.
please?
And also, Chris, Tyler was probably more polite. I've been with him at least 2 times where he has visited every business owner one-to-one to give them his business card, and we've also had meetings with them. So just to be clear, his communication with business owners has been, from my point of view, pretty excellent.
Oh, no, I wasn't saying, I'm just saying,
Okay.
they feel nervous, so I guess.
And we understand that, so he's tried to alleviate those concerns.
If we can, maybe that's something we just need to have that as a special little paragraph in our monthly reports or whatever, or weekly reports. It'd be nice just to have Kester Block update, even if it's not out to the general public,
Yep.
at least it's out to the
That's what I
council.
thought I did.
Still be public, of course, but yeah, I just, little notes about progress. It'd have been good all along, and now that we've got that communication. So, I know it's just more typing to do, but, okay.
I'm Wayne
But now do
Creasy.
what you're here for.
This is Delaney Budenbender. Delaney works at United Bank and Trust. She's on the One Marysville Board, and she chairs the Economic Vitality Committee.
What's your name again?
Delaney Budenbender.
Budenbender down by, Bigelow?
My in-laws, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Yep, I'm a transplant.
It's pretty woolly down there.
Yeah. Well, Wayne did my intro good. I don't have to do it. So we are really excited to welcome Jeff Siegler to Marysville for a week-long residency, March 23rd through 26th. Many of you were at his presentation a year ago. I still think about how much I took away from that session. For those of you who may be less familiar, Jeff is a civic pride specialist who works with cities across the country to connect residents to their community, fostering a stronger sense of pride and investment in where they live. The Economic Vitality Committee has been working hard to make this week truly impactful. We've spent time curating this schedule with intention, although nothing is completely set in stone yet. Currently, our schedule includes public sessions open to anyone who wants to attend, along with workshops for city staff and elected officials. We also have sessions specifically designed to support our small business owners who wear many hats and play a tremendous role in our local economy. Jeff is equally as passionate about engaging with our large employers, local developers, and builders, anyone who helps shape Marysville as a whole. They'll also have time slated to meet with him. Marshall County young professionals and entrepreneurs are set to network with Jeff, share ideas with him, gain feedback. We have him scheduled to work with our nonprofits, churches, and our local museums, which attract visitors into our community every day. He will spend his time touring downtown and helping community leaders understand the power of place and how fostering civic pride can help move Marysville forward. I'm especially excited about March 26th, so that would be his final day of his residency. Jeff will spend time with our youth at Marysville High School, and to end, we have a community-wide assembly, almost, if you will. And then this will be followed by a community-wide cleanup with Marysville High School students leading the way. And this will leave a tangible mark on our town right away. I keep one of Jeff's posts saved on my phone, and I refer back to it quite a bit. He says, "Imagine what would happen if residents truly loved where they lived, if they look around their town and felt proud, not indifferent. Everything would get a little cleaner, a little kinder, a little better. The goal isn't just maintenance, it's affection, because when people care, everything else follows." So I think that sums up our committee's focus and vision for the week perfectly, and we would love your support and investment as we move forward with bringing Jeff to Marysville.
People want to travel to places where people love to live.
Yeah.
So when we think about our request, we're so excited that many different organizations and businesses have come forward to help pay for Jeff's visit to Marysville, since he's spending basically a day at the high school. USD 364 and the USD 364 Foundation have given us money to help pay for Jeff coming here. Marysville Community Foundation has stepped up. Obviously, when Marysville is footing the bigger portion of the bill, we're coming to you to ask to pay for. That request is about 1/5 of the overall total, and then we have requests out to other places as well. We have so many generous partners that we're using our partnership funds to pay for his residency fee.
Move to approve $5,000 for Jeff Siegler's concessions.
Second.
Okay, so moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Great, thank you.
You guys made that really easy, thank you.
It is, so 23rd through the 26th?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
He comes in on the 22nd, leaves the 27th. So sometimes when I communicate with groups like you, I'll use those dates because on those bookends, we've got some wiggle room that we all might have a chance to have more time with him.
Can you,
Are there any evening sessions? I mean,
Yes, every night there's an evening session.
could you,
So sometimes there's early morning sessions, sometimes there's night sessions, sometimes there's day sessions.
Do people schedule these, or are you guys scheduling them and people just need to show up?
Both.
Both, okay.
So sometimes it'll be an all-call, hey, everyone's invited. Sometimes it'll be, what we're talking about is intended for small business owners. One group that, I don't know what we're calling this group, but they're the people who might be in the shadows, who aren't people like we are, but they've got ideas. And we want to make sure that those folks in our community know that they can bubble up their ideas. And so we want to make sure that we get them in touch with Jeff as well. So we really are curating that schedule to make sure his impact is the greatest with as many people as possible.
On the smaller group, say, I'll just say small business since I have one. How will those businesses be notified of those times?
In several ways. Of course, our local media, which we're always glad to work with, through our newsletter, through social media, through posters.
Perfect.
We'll have a whole marketing campaign.
Thank you.
Yeah.
When we get closer to the event, could you send the city staff a agenda?
Yes. Oh, yeah,
For
Josh
that
and I will be working
timeline
on this.
that could be
Yep.
shared with the governing body?
Yep.
Just so we can pin it up on the refrigerator and, especially like any of the open sessions and
Yeah.
stuff that we might
Well, and
want
that
to partake in.
Monday afternoon, right now, is scheduled for city staff, city elected officials.
The Monday afternoon.
And that'll be noted on the agenda?
Very boldly.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
I think we're done for you. I have the next
okay.
item.
Well,
Okay,
she can stay in for moral support if she wants.
Before we go into the improvements to 617 Broadway, you have a homework assignment, please. You notice we have our One Marysville Welcome plaques. You all have one. So I'll be back within a month. And when I come back next time, we've been talking about how we help people navigate Marysville. This is one of our ideas. This comes to us from Nick Stahl. So our concept is these plaques go in every hotel room. They go in the restaurants. They go at the front desk here at City Hall. And when you click that QR code right now, it takes you to the landing page where we have those 4 beautiful videos about Marysville. There's the Welcome to Marysville video. There's the one about the Blue River Rail Trail, black squirrels, and outdoors in Marysville. And then it also takes you then within the One Marysville website. So we're working with our web developer and 1221, that video company, on that next round of videos. And we've been talking to them about that concept. When we look at our Placer AI data, we know that people are, on the whole, going to one place and then they're leaving Marysville. And so we're working on how we help them understand this is how you navigate Marysville. If you're going to Walmart, then you need to go here. And so the next time I'm coming back, we're going to talk about that next round and how we use these to help people navigate town. So your homework assignment is to make sure you play around with that, look at the wording, and think about ways we can tweak that.
What's the timeline on the flag development?
On the what development?
The Mayor's Art Project.
Oh, the flag.
For the flag, yes.
Got it.
And that was discussed at the YAC meeting. We're going to bring them a draft of what that's going to look like at next YAC meeting, council meeting. A kind of a draft, what it'll look like with the instructions on the back, to have them kind of proof it and make sure that makes sense to young brains, since we don't want it to be weird. And then we'll have it after that, so.
And the only reason I bring that up is if you're gonna roll this out.
Yeah.
It'd be nice, I know we right now have, I call it a sun thing on there.
Yeah.
It'd be nice to incorporate.
Love it.
Maybe that's part of the rollout for
Love
the
it.
new.
Yes.
Sure.
We're certainly on board. That's a
Shield,
great
or
idea.
whatever you wanna call it.
Yeah. No, I mean, I want it to be an exciting thing and a very youth-focused thing that we can all appreciate, not a bunch of us grumbly old people. I don't like that, I don't want that. I want the young people to decide, so.
Well, speaking of that, if you want a fun read, go back and read how they approved the flag we have now.
And what year was that,
1972. Go back to the minutes from those meetings. It's funny. When you talk about old people, I mean, because they talk about, like, when you look at our current flag, there's a reason the star is gold, and there's a reason why it was placed there. So if you want to hear like how that came to be, just go back to our city records. It's a
I
fun
don't
read.
necessarily a flag by committee is the best plan. It's
Exactly.
part of the thing.
That
yes.
was a flag by committee. Although they did do an all-call at that time.
Did they?
And 2 people submitted designs. That was one of the 2. And then the council got involved and tweaked it.
Only two people submitted
According
designs?
according to the minutes, yeah.
Well, luckily with technology now, we can fish
Absolutely.
for a lot
Right.
more design than that. All right. Moving on.
I'm probably taking too much latitude with my next thing.
Yep, I
So
think
now
we're
we
out of
have the
time,
request,
sorry.
yep, exactly. So when we were negotiating our contract, our year-long contract, we were also talking about the improvements that need to be made to 617 Broadway. Right after I took over this job, we had that flood. And since then, we haven't fixed the floor. And so when we were negotiating that contract, there was, I think the words that I used in your letter was an unofficial agreement that the city we would use some transient guest tax dollars to be applied to making improvements to that building. So within that request, you see how that $15,000 would be spent, and then you see, at least you get the broad idea of what One Marysville will be putting forward to make this happen. So Josh just asked for me to bring an official request to the governing body.
If there are any modifications to that list or cost overruns, I presume that's something One Marysville is going to absorb.
I think that's
The
what
15,000 is all encompassing.
Yeah.
For our portion.
I just know how construction projects go.
Absolutely. These are pretty accurate numbers within the past
They are
couple
pretty
weeks.
exacting, yeah.
Yeah.
I move to approve.
Second.
Okay, so moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Okay, thank you, council.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, last up we have sidewalk snow removal.
I'm guessing that all of you guys have read the memo, but following the previous council meeting, we felt like we were directed to go ahead and start rolling out a little bit more of really just trying to get sidewalks cleared in general around town. And so we ended up waiting a little while until after all of our FEMA lots were completely had the snow removed. And then we went ahead and ended up cleaning off about 10 to 15 sidewalks, resident sidewalks. However, with this being the first time that has ever been done that we know about, there was no fee structure created. There was no example of how we would go about doing this. And in modern memory, I don't think anybody had known of us cleaning them off, even though we do post that ordinance fairly often after each snow. So what I am asking for is actually for us to forgive the fee for the snow that we removed. So that way, people are not completely surprised. It's a way that we notify them of the existing fee structure that we've created, while also, recognizing that this is the first time that it has been enforced in any effort. And we would hope to continue enforcing that every snow after this. Now, if we're going to enforce it, of course, we're going to clean off all of our own first and give a bit more latitude on the time frame than 12 hours after the snow had occurred, or even 12 hours after the sun has come up. However, we're still going to make sure, depending on the snow, that we go out there and at least hit some of the streets that are near schools, near places that are going to be visited fairly often, such as downtown district, those type of things. So like I said, we are asking council to go ahead and forgive these fees this time, since I do not have that ability. And then we will start enforcing that fee the next time. And this first time refers to the snow that happened, or the snow removal that happened on January 27th. No other snow removal.
So we are going to mail these out though to the individuals so that
Yeah,
they actually
so
see them?
what's included in the agenda is an example of what we would mail out. And that dives into what the labor fee and administrative fee would equal.
Note that we do not want to be competing with local snow removal, and that's part of the reason it is pretty high.
Yeah, so.
Okay, well, I just want to clarify, when I brought this up at the last meeting, it was not for this. It was to make sure that we as a city were getting our
Our
properties
own
cleaned
first. Yeah, and that's part
before
of
we
it. So we're
worried
not
about getting everybody
so we're not-
else's
No,
property.
I don't take direction from one member.
I'm just saying, I'm just clarifying
whole-
that was,
Yeah,
this
correct.
is not
Yes.
my intention.
And I can
This was
speak,
my
I can
thing.
speak to that. That was discussed quite a bit at the admin and finance meeting. The sidewalk snow removal priorities were discussed, particularly the downtown, our areas. And I could have specified a little bit more, but yes, ours taking priority prior to moving forward with others. Because you are correct, what precedent do we set as far as charging someone else fees when we're not handling our own business?
right.
So that was discussed.
Would it not make sense to maybe put this out for like RFQ or bid it out?
No,
Right.
I don't think there's anybody who really wants the, I mean.
Well,
it
if
seems
you
like-
don't put it out there, how do you know?
I mean, we can, I agree with it in premise, I mean, and we can certainly try, I guess.
I think it'd be
My thought
worth
is
the
it's
exercise.
Unpredictable.
I think this time it was, people were called and they said they don't have time or room for it.
Well, if you're gonna call
It was-
them short
it
notice,
was-
yeah. I
And that's the thing
It
is,
was looked at.
we won't know where we need to send them until I think it might be easier for us to be like, hey, crew, let's go, these are the spots that nobody scooped, and we go do it, versus a contractor, we'd have to have somebody, I guess, to go and mark those spots and then contact the contractor and explain which sidewalks where. Sometimes it's easier just to do it yourself. I don't know.
I would at least just put it out there and see if somebody wanted to bid on it, say, yeah, we'll take it, and part of my contract says that, first thing I'm gonna do is make sure that before every business opens, their sidewalk is gonna be clean. And if they say no, if nobody bids it, who cares?
The reason I wanted this format, this is pretty much how I was asking it be written up, is that we want people to see what it would have cost if we weren't giving like a one-time forgiveness here. So that way it's like, oh, I wouldn't want that to happen. I wouldn't want to have to pay this. So it's really obvious if you're crediting it. Whereas
kinda like a
if you
threat.
just say it, it's like what we've been doing, which is, rules without enforcement is just like a suggestion. It doesn't even mean anything.
Right.
So we've got to, but yes, the underlying thing here is that we do need to make sure our own house is in order. And that's why, like Josh said, we kind of can't reasonably expect 12 hours. I mean, it's going to be longer. This was 72-ish hours.
Yes.
Before it was cleared. So multiple times the distance. And it was only the ones that were near schools. And that's when, those are ones you can't put out a notice and wait for them. They all had tracks from kids trying to get.
Will the residents have 72 hours to address?
They'll have 12 hours.
So all the
plus-
cities will be cleaned first before residences are
Yes.
even looked at. That's what was
And that's an
discussed.
administrative policy that we are setting, not something that council has set. If we want to change the ordinance from 12 hours, we can. However,
needs to be looked at.
admin and finance.
Yeah, that could go to admin and finance. I mean, I don't think we want 72 hours,
Do you have a
but
suggestion, Roy?
Well, I'm just,
But it's unenforceable.
well, that's just it. And like Josh said, his comment was, we don't pay overtime. We don't like to pay overtime, so how can we expect every small business in our downtown to pay overtime to get somebody to come scoop their, like when we had the wagon wheel, Lori Parks and I did that. So one of us would have to go in and take care of it.
yeah.
You know what I mean? We
On a weekend, like
we didn't
on a
have a
weekend or
contractor,
something.
we did it ourselves, which most of these people do.
I got the joy of scooping some downtown snow this
You know
year
what
as
I
well.
mean? So I'm just like, I don't know, there has to be some grace.
Okay, I just have a couple of questions. How did we come up with the 121? And then if we're gonna send them out, could we make that the total is 182? I don't think it looks good that we can't add.
No.
Fair.
And the one, that's like.
181 is what we had as our estimates prior to putting it into this. So I do have.
Total is $1.
that. So,
You owe us $1.
obviously this was
I
not
can see it.
an Excel or formula. 120 or 121, was based off of the same administrative fee that's used on the weed ordinances.
Okay.
Not in the weed ordinances, but our fee that we use for those cleanups.
I was just curious where it came from.
So, your labor burden rate is $61 an hour for an employee.
For 2 people,
Two.
and that's not including benefits. And
So,
that's not including
for a
materials.
tax-funded laborer, the labor rate is
30.5.
$30.50? Okay.
Plus benefits.
What we do.
And
I think you
that's
need to
not
look
even
at that.
That's not even the
That's-
salt they have to put down.
Yeah, there's a difference. If
I
you're
don't know
gonna
what
look
your-
at burden rate for an employee, okay, look at it as total cost, and you're gonna figure out that they can't afford to do it. but at the same time, you gotta keep in mind, these people are tax-paying citizens. So it's hard to come back and say, well, we're in the business of removing snow now, here's what you're gonna pay.
Well, they can, but see, if you own property, it's on you to do all things maintenance, and that's snow, and that's roofs, and that's everything else. We don't wanna be in any of, that's mowing, we don't wanna be in any of these businesses. And I mean, I know that's an inconvenience, and that's like another thing we discussed, was we wanna get a list of contractors as, you know, as full of a list as we can, and include it with this, so that people can have at least.
And this includes any business downtown?
It's anywhere, well, I guess, yes, this is anywhere in town.
Yeah, anywhere in town.
But it's specifically being targeted, because we can't target everywhere at the same time. Downtown, on the way to school, where you're gonna have higher pedestrian traffic, and especially children and the elderly.
So who maintained the liability on that sidewalk downtown along Main Street?
Property owners.
Yeah.
Property owners and the city's second insured?
I don't know how that works with sidewalks, I know how it works with parks. That's more of a legal.
But anyways, yeah, I'm just curious. Not a big deal.
Yeah.
Is there a master list of city properties that you have to do, and about how many is that?
I don't have that list on me, and that changes, I mean, not fairly often, but based on our rentals of FEMA properties. Sometimes, you know, we have that leased, and other times they've given up the lease. Like recently, during the snow, we found out that one lease had been given up, so we had to go back and do that.
So is it possible to put that list of properties out to the public so they know what it is we're maintaining?
I'd love to see that list.
I would love to see that list too.
Me
And
too.
honestly,
We can
you wanna
get
take it
that
a step
out.
farther, I'd love to see that, a color-coded map of all those properties. That would not be
Yes.
easy to produce, but not impossible. And it would be
No,
great
that
to
wouldn't
see
be.
it.
Yes.
It'd just be good knowledge for us.
Do we have any
Get a
sort of
map and
stru-
take a highlighter.
Do we have any sort of structure, like, with that being said, like, as far as what we designate as a primary route, like, or primary business that we work towards first?
Yeah, that.
Are you talking about our own properties, or are you
Correct,
talking
yeah,
about
like-
other people?
Like
Okay.
Pony Park
Yeah,
over the
what's-
cemetery.
Yeah, what's a priority, yeah, correct. Like,
Yeah, so
what do we prioritize?
especially on like weekends,
Yeah.
we're gonna prioritize City Hall, specifically to the mailbox for weekends. So, you know, weekdays, we're gonna make sure all of it in front of City Hall is cleared. Library,
Fire station?
yeah, we will have the fire station as well. You're gonna have the businesses that are open within the Castor block that we take care of, which is not, it's the south half of the block.
The alley by the police station.
Yes, we're gonna do the police station as well. Pony Park, as we said, and that, like we've said, was, you know, an accident, and we have addressed that was not taken care of. And then I think we're going to continue to do the first block of the 7th Street corridor south from the Pony Park, just because of the traffic around
Parking
downtown.
and-
Yeah.
yeah.
However, parks and cemetery, those are in our lesser priority.
Now, what about that one person there's always gonna be that one person that is away on a business trip, and all of a sudden you get that snowstorm in the middle of the week, and he doesn't come back till
Well,
Friday or
if he
Saturday.
doesn't have it contracted, he doesn't have anybody there, he doesn't have friends and family.
He can call the city up and pay $61 an hour plus the administrative fee.
Yeah,
No, I
it'll
mean,
get
how
done.
do we handle that? Just that one,
Same as everybody else.
Ultimately, if we clear it off, we're going to bill them. Ultimately, they can also come in front of council, and the council body has the ability to forgive that at any time.
just like they do with the water bill, or, you know, they
Right.
could come in and
Yep.
try to forgive it.
I can't even remember.
Yeah,
what
I mean, if there's a
was saying
super extenuating circumstance, and I mean, if there's a 1,000-year snowstorm, I guess, you know, we'll cross that bridge when we get there.
now. Oh, yeah, I remember.
If there was a snowstorm like that, once again, we would focus on our own properties first, and that would probably take quite a while if it's that type of storm. Hopefully, that would give a little bit more time for those individuals.
I mean, key here is we're not gonna smack people with this up front. What you brought to us is, and I'm recommending, is that we credit them we basically, you don't want to say the word credit, you want to call it a forgiveness, right?
So if I read this
Forgiveness.
right, it's 12 hours after it stops drifting.
The way that it reads
From when the
is
sun comes up, right?
Falling.
not drifting.
Drifting doesn't count.
The way it reads, I believe, it is the snow coming down, when it stops coming down. However, the way that we are gonna treat it is gonna be different. Because if, it's 72 hours and then now it started drifting, we're probably gonna treat that as a separate event.
And these places that were cleaned up by the city crew had not been touched. It wasn't a bad snow scooping job, it wasn't a drift, they had not been
It was
touched.
scooped easy, I mean, it pushed easy.
Yeah.
This
but I mean,
snow
but
specifically
this
did
specifically,
scoop
yeah.
easily, yes. Which is why we really had to think about, what is our minimum that we're going to be, for time, what is the minimum? Because we're not always gonna have the snow. Some are gonna be ice, we're gonna be expending more materials at some point in time. So we do have to make sure to cover that, but then we also have to make sure that, people don't wanna use this service, because it's not a service we want to have to use, just like cleaning up for weeds.
But the timeline in the ordinance, we can definitely bring to admin finance.
I would definitely agree.
Because if it's an unenforceable rule, then that's again, kind
What's
of
the
a
point?
bad rule, yeah.
They need more to do.
Well,
So you need a motion.
it doesn't.
I move,
I'm gonna move, oh, go ahead.
I move to approve, moving forward with sending out an itemized bill to the residents that we scoop their snow for with a line item of zeroed out for a forgiveness, going forward.
One time.
Yeah, one time.
Approved.
Second.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded several times. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
7-0.
And just a question on that, Josh. I know that Cemetery of Parks does most of the snow clearing.
Yes.
But like the PD, the Water Department, Street Department, do they do their own areas?
So the PD cemetery still cleans off the PD area. I couldn't say if the PD throw up salt at different times throughout the day. But for the most part, the cemetery crew does take care of those. Water department, I believe it is water department that takes care of, around their properties. Yes. As for like overtime for those, we're probably, cemetery, we would probably provide overtime for that purposes. I'm not sure that we would for water department. Instead, we might ask cemeteries to also cover those in those cases.
Okay.
On the street.
Street would be cleaning streets,
Anyway.
so, yep, and we're trying to move away from the way that we've been doing street removal and trying to get, street snow removal, and try to go more towards a shift snow removal, so that way it is less time on each group. So hopefully that change will help.
Sorry.
We did it.
Not impressed.
If the snow event is happening, you can be sent home based on, or call that week and then if the event's still,
Okay.
just trying to remember.
All right, moving on, we have the consent agenda.
Move to approve the consent agenda.
So we moved and seconded to approve the consent agenda. Any further discussion? Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
7-0.
Thank you. Next up, we have presentation of appropriations ordinance 3866.
Move to approve appropriation ordinance number 3866 in the amount of $509,684.73.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Any further discussion?
Yes, I have a question.
Yeah.
Valley Vet Supply. Go to page 38. Third thing from the bottom. This really caught my eye.
Is that on the appropriation one?
Whoa.
Yeah.
I caught that too.
That's a uniform and boot allowance stuff, isn't it?
Well, that's an awful big allowance.
One person?
Yeah, that's
That's-
like a really nice pair.
Not just a
At my
standard-
employer, that's 8 years of allowance.
Is it boots?
Yeah,
Is
that's-
it perhaps more than just boots?
$14.95.
And it's just coded?
It's like a really nice,
There's 6 invoices combined. It's just,
Okay,
So
because
it's
it
not
just has the
just
one
Zach-
name by it, that's
it has
why I was
one
like,
name.
oh
Yeah.
my God.
But there's.
Yeah,
And-
but
Like,
it's
what are we
everybody.
doing?
like a really nice
Yeah,
pair of
that's
Anderson
awesome.
beans.
There's like,
Okay, that's all I needed. That caught my eye when I was reading through it, and I was like,
I asked
Okay.
about, so when I went through the receipts, I asked about, that's just how they do it. It's multiple people
So-
using it.
Maybe we could
Oh,
Put-
see, this is
times 8.
all that together.
okay.
it's just,
How much does one
Six.
cost? Oh, I guess
These
we
are-
know that, but-
they're
Like $150 for a pair
no
of
more
boots.
than 150 apiece.
Yeah.
These
That's-
are,
but I-
These are
yeah, but-
Walmart, but it's the same idea.
Same idea, I get it. I just,
Okay, but it's a good call out.
yeah,
we're
I
not-
just, yeah, I was like,
All right, any further discussion?
Yeah.
Roll call?
Keating?
Oh, sorry.
Yes.
Did a roll call on this one, sorry.
Keating,
Yes.
Snelling,
yes.
Reinhardt,
Yes.
Schrader,
Yes.
Thrum, Gueracki,
Yes.
Eichner,
Yes.
Ferris. Yes. 7-0.
Thank you. Next up, we have the city administrator report. Josh?
as I'm sure you guys have seen, Smoky Hill has switched lanes on Highway 77. So they're working on, the storm drain that was installed, I think it was installed today.
At Spring Street?
Tony, yes, yep. And Tony made a comment that they're working like madmen out there right now, so they're trying to get through a couple of their checklist items real quick. We are expecting about 2 more months worth of work, so it's still gonna be a while. But they are getting through it as quick as they can. On other projects, we just did a walkthrough of 15th Street Storm Sewer project. There are still a couple of checklist items that they need to finish up. One, if you walk it, you'll really notice that the storm drains, all the inlets, still need bars across them. I'm pretty sure adults could fit through it at the moment, however, they'll be getting those bars installed fairly quickly. And then otherwise, most of the other work will be more springtime projects, just with seeding, that type of stuff. We did go down to the League of Kansas Municipalities Local Government Day recently. While there, we were able to talk to our senator and representative. Unfortunately, we did not have very much time with either one of them. I think it was about 10 minutes, would you say?
3 minutes.
3 minutes, sure. So we tried to focus on a couple projects. They already know about the 7th Street Corridor project, so we tried to stay away from that because they're already helping us out quite a bit with that. So we instead focused more on housing development, mainly in the Keystone area, and then also on the Youth Advisory Committee, just because we want to highlight the work that the high schoolers are able to do at the moment, and the work that they'll continue to do. So they actually, was it Senator Bowers ended up agreeing to come to a later youth advisory meeting?
Yeah, it was.
So she'll be meeting probably with the next cohort after session is over. Another thing that we took away from this meeting was that they give a legislative update every year, but then of course they always send out multiple emails to us. This year seems like it's going to be a lot more of them asking for testimony from local government officials on some of the bills that are being considered. In fact, they just sent out another one today asking for testimony because the state is they're having a hearing right now about local city and county budgets, and basically what they're trying to pass through is that we would have to have an election in order to approve that budget. And so, I still don't know.
Thursday, right?
Yes, yeah, the testimony will need to be in, the hearing is on Thursday, so you'll have to sign up before then.
It's not to approve the budget, it's if you exceed a percentage.
Instead of having a
Yes.
hearing, it's, yes.
Yeah.
Exceeding the revenue.
Do you remember that number?
Percentage prior to the revenue neutral year.
It is, I think, 2475.
That's right.
2745, House Bill 2745.
Yeah, so please go ahead and take a look at that. I believe it's the Finance Oversight Committee something like that.
It's
That
the
is
taxation
What did he
committee,
say?
Taxation.
2745. Yeah, it's the committee on taxation.
Committee on Taxation.
Yeah.
So please take a look at that. If you feel strongly about it, please let us know and we can try to set you up for testimony or we can work through talking points. I know they'll have plenty of other cities also providing testimony. It doesn't look like any of our representatives are on that committee. However, you know, we can still provide that testimony and still reach out to our representatives if that's a stance that the council is looking to have. Let's see. I don't know if you guys noticed, but on Wednesday, storm sirens did not go off at all when they were supposed to. Yes, so we ended up having to set them off on Thursday. All of them worked. So we're still not sure what that meant exactly, but we're looking into it a bit more. It seems like everything is working fine, so I'm not worried. However, we're in contact with the company that takes care of them just to make sure.
We could do a little clarification. They work when the sheriff's office and.
Yes, yes. So on Wednesday, when we set them off in here, they did not go off. We reset the system that night. Of course, we were not going to try to set them off again later in the day.
I think
So we
somebody-
waited
yeah.
until the next day, and we had communication with emergency management and the sheriff's office, and we did another practice run on Thursday at noon, and all of them went off, so.
Is that a wireless thing or a computer command, or how do you set them off from here?
There's a little system hooked up to the
Push
computer.
a
in there.
button, or?
That's all I do.
Basically, yeah. Yep. Yep. We have fixed almost all the leaks that were reported at the last council meeting. And so I believe there were one or two more since then. Not sure if those are also related to the freeze and then thaw or what those are related to, but we're continuing to work on those as they come up. And then tomorrow we are preparing for the Department of Labor to come up. They only come every few years. Their different representatives focus on different things, so we'll see what this one is about, but we'll report back to you guys on what they were wanting to focus on and see what we're needing to change. So that's all I had.
The bars on the storm sewers, Josh?
Yes.
Do those have to remove for a reason, or why aren't they just part of the storm sewer box?
They were supposed to be a part, or they were supposed to be added onto it originally. I can't remember if that was just an oversight or if on one of the other plans that they were looking at, it wasn't on there. However, they are adding it to it as included in the cost.
Are they a permanent fixture, or are they
Yes,
supposed to
permanent.
be removable?
I mean, we should be able to remove them.
Should be, okay.
However, you know, somebody's not gonna easily be able to remove
They're
them.
like bolted into
Yes.
concrete.
Oh, okay. I was just wondering why they wouldn't pour them into the
I think it'd
box.
just be part of the box
Yeah.
itself. Yeah. All right, thank you, Josh. Next up, we have standing committee reports. First, we have the Water and Sewer Committee report.
I got it. I did send it out. Otherwise, I don't know where I was supposed to, but I sure will. Kevin and I were here with Sammy and Josh, and then Tony was here. It was just kind of chatting about, you know, like the Keystone project, the CIPP projects, you know, like where they're at with those, how we're gonna make this work. And then Tony mentioned a few things that they would like to purchase at some point in time, which I'm guessing will come up in the budget meeting.
Did you guys talk about the lead survey at all? Do you know how far you is with that?
The survey?
I can have them report to that committee at a later time on
Okay.
where we're at on the survey.
Nobody
When
knows
he
that.
came, he was here for something. Was it admin and finance committee? Oh, no, I was early in the water sewer committee, and he was talking about that. He was working on it, so I was just curious how far he got.
He's working on the Keystone. That was talked a lot about, the Keystone project of moving the pits and the manholes and all that.
Yeah, the call for this committee was just an introduction to the committee, electing chairperson, and then discussing 2026 projects, so it was very general.
But I am the chairperson, because Lord knows I know a lot about water and sewer.
You use both of those things.
Yeah,
so,
I use them. I don't know much else about that. I'm gonna learn. I am going to learn.
That's good. All right, next up we have the Admin Finance Committee.
Yes, so, major topics for discussion was number one, the animal shelter. City staff, city admin, and, council members toured operations in Manhattan, Clay Center, Beatrice, Nebraska, and Fairbury, to gather further knowledge and insight into local shelter projects. Key discussion for, location remains a major concern. Sounds like without special site provisions, the shelter would require one city block, and I'm sure you can probably expand on this, Josh, and I don't think that that matters the size of the building. I think that that has to do with basically noise ordinance, allowing for exterior space for dogs to be able to walk, that sort of thing.
Yes, and distance from residences as well.
From residents, so it doesn't matter how big we build this thing, unless there's...
On our existing site would be the only option where we wouldn't really have to worry about that too.
Yeah. So I guess I could add at that existing site, the airport industrial area and the 7th Street corridor near Bruce's Body Shop were all sites discussed. Recommended a size 60 by 80, which is a massive facility.
Yeah, when I saw that,
Too big.
It's massive.
For the dogs.
To accommodate storage, dog and cat housing, mechanical room, intake area, office space, surgical / recovery space for a spay and neuter program if we elect to go that route, or we can even find a vet that would service those needs. Funding for the project were discussed at length. So phasing the project and potential financing options. Yeah, I think this might be a bit cost prohibitive unless we can find something out there that is some grant money, maybe. We also, one of the action items we were discussed was to contact local nonprofit organizations to determine the interest in operating the shelter. Basically, we provide them the space to do it. They would basically get the funding mechanism in place as far as donations in all things food, blankets, staff, all of it. I don't know if we've reached out to them any further.
I have not since that meeting.
Yeah, and just kind of gather input on how they would like to see a shelter built, as they would be the ones running it. Just, I think that their input's important. So I would say yes, the size and the scope of this is definitely expanded, and we are not sure what the costs would look like. Yeah.
Understatement.
Yeah.
One question, have we ever reached out to I can't think of the name of the place. It's on West Highway 136 in Beatrice. There's kind of across the road from the Southeast Community College campus. There's kind of like a humane society up there.
That's where we went.
Really?
Yeah.
And
So
did we ever thought about the idea of, hey, what if we give you so much money a year and you allow us this?
Sort of the conversations.
Yeah, so we have visited Beatrice, Fairbury, Manhattan, and Clay Center with different representatives of different groups within the city. Overall, we have talked to every one of them about, hey, what if you took this over for us? And really we didn't really get interest at all from them. I think Beatrice they're all willing to help, but they're not willing necessarily to run it, I would say. And so they're not willing to take on a contract.
I guess the point being not run something, but
Yes.
hey, we're going to transport them to your facility.
So we did discuss that, and Beatrice specifically said maybe they could help out once in a while, but because of the system they have in place, the way they get rid of animals is they only take in animals they know they can adopt.
And they only serve Gage County at the moment.
And I think they're pretty close to capacity.
Yes.
All the
That
time.
was
All the
definitely
time.
discussed.
Every.
Well, I think just in general for what's being reported.
But a lot of the conversation around the building was, we don't want to go deciding we're going to do something and then somebody's like, well, we'd run it, but that's not what we want.
No.
We want to make sure we're building something that if we can find somebody to kind of contract with to manage it, that it's what they want.
And I would say, we never set out to build an animal shelter. I don't think any of us necessarily wants to, but if we're gonna build one, let's make sure it serves our needs and potentially serves the county needs if that's something that we're interested in. Now, that's a discussion that we have to have.
Getting money from the county. If we build a good one, the county might be able to help out. Plus, there could also be room for the spay and neuter project we want to get started. So it's a lot of moving pieces, but there's a lot of discussion. I'm making sure if we have to do it, let's do it right, so we're not like revisiting it in a year.
I guess my gut tells me that if we move forward with something like that, I don't think there'd be any of us sitting on this governing body. So that's where I'm at. That's my gut reaction.
Keith just brought up a good point. There is a potential for the horse arena area, that there would be enough space in between the Hedstrom Hall and just the arena itself.
I know some residences that would probably be opposed to that.
I don't know if that would be in proximity of, too close to said residence house.
I'm not sure that it would be too close
Is an option.
to residents that live in that area. I do know there are residents that are actively using the horse arena,
Well,
whether that's
we're not saying the horse arena
the horse
itself.
arena, okay.
There is a place that is in between.
Space between the
Oh,
buildings.
that's got a huge dip, right?
I can't remember.
It's 129 by 140.
Yeah, I would, but I mean, I think that there would be a fortune amassed getting that ground available, I think.
Just a thought.
No, I'm just,
exploring all options still is the point.
And it is city owned.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
got
No, I know,
electricity and water already there.
Yep. Topic 2 is sidewalks and snow removal, we discussed that. Topic 3 was the incentives and tax rebates that Keith had brought to the table. We discussed the incentive tools the city may use to support business growth and community develop. Items within our controls specifically would be water, sewer fees, connection costs, potential waivers, case by case to reduce the burdens of small business startups. I think the majority of what we focused on for the committee's purpose was small businesses. We didn't really dive into resident by resident options as far as tax incentives go. That needs to be explored a lot further before we move forward with even considering any of that. So that's a conversation that is going to be ongoing. The additional discussions on that was the economic development program offers $1,000 back to residential with specific existing limitations and wording that may be able to be expanded. Strong emphasis was placed on improving public education and outreach regarding the economic development programs and neighborhood revitalization programs that are currently in place. The future concept that was introduced is creating a blended board to oversee a dedicated fund for microloans, is the term that was thrown around, to help small businesses with improvements, startup costs, and cost offsets. This concept is still in the early stages and requires further discussion regarding board structure and membership funding sources. And topic 4 was the city administrator's contract that was discussed in executive session. So.
And I would add that since that topic 3 discussion, I've had a little bit of conversation in the community, and there's, I think, maybe some efforts afoot to do some sort of program that would be kind of business incentives and, I don't know, cohesion program, I don't know what to call it, but I think that's something where if we keep exploring it, something might come to us too, where we can help that effort, and then we don't have to manage it from the top, which would be great too.
yeah.
Just throwing that out there.
Okay, that's all I have.
Okay. And we have Police and Fire Committee.
Yeah, I thought being the newbie, you didn't get elected to the chairperson.
Oh, no.
Oh, no.
Joke's on you.
exactly what happened.
That's exactly, I was the last one here and I got thrown under the
For
bus.
full disclosure, this is the first year we really had chairperson.
All new for everyone.
Okay, all right, well, that's fair then. Well, hopefully you've read these, you know, we have 2 officers that are back from the academy, bathroom remodel, carpets done at the PD. The one thing, did Sammy look up the figures on between Capers and KPNF?
Yeah, she does have that information, I believe, from the last time we looked it up. I'm not sure if she has received it back.
Okay, I put in the minutes
New
that she thought it'd
information
go from 9% to 24%.
That's about
Is that
accurate
about
from
right?
what I remember.
Okay.
Yeah.
I forgot to ask her that before the meeting, so I apologize. Everyone will have a take-home vehicle now, but it's done at KCOM. We did discuss the need to getting rid of some old vehicles, maybe putting them on Purple Wave. Those kind of things, which I think we really need to look into, so we're not becoming a junkyard.
Yeah.
Sorry. And then I was the one who asked if Donnie Wallman ever attended these meetings, because I found it very helpful having Lieutenant Lease at the meeting to be able to ask questions and things like that, and he was the one who brought up the retaining wall and the issues, and I don't know that the committee would have been aware of some of those had he not been present. So anyway, I think they'd like to look into a few more things there for options with their evidence, as that's not totally a secured area. It is, but it isn't.
The gate they built for cars that are in
Yeah.
And they'd like to have something with a roof.
Roof.
Yeah.
You know,
indoors.
and if it happens to be for evidence, it needs, you know, you're gonna have to,
Gotta be secure.
yes, yeah. So I do hope, or maybe we give direction that he look into that and bring us a little bit more information. They also talked about the age of the speed sign that sometimes you see around town, that theirs is getting older. Yeah, I looked them up on the internet after the meeting. They ran around 10,000. You probably saw that in a minute. So anyway, they'd be a hunk of change.
Yeah. And I believe the previous one was a grant-funded one. We
Was
got
it?
through a grant.
Okay, all right, I wasn't positive on that either. So as for fire, we did discuss the breathing apparatus, their bunker gear. It was actually James that mentioned maybe when the PD updates their radios that we could give the old 800s to the fire department, making communication, at least with me at my office, a little easier. They are being paged a lot to lift assist, and that they are getting utilized quite a bit throughout the city. And then we discussed their pay, that Mayor Fry said as long as he has been on the council, he doesn't think it's ever been increased. The volunteer pay per fire. So we asked that that get looked at and be brought.
And that's, all that was part of the reason I wanted to make sure, since we had, Don was here tonight, to be like, hey, how would you like to come to one of these? I don't know that he's been asked. And so he seemed quick to agree.
He
and
did.
we might learn about more of these things and their needs by having him at those meetings.
I definitely, from my point of view, would have appreciated his presence. So anyway, that's all I have.
All right, and we kind of, we got a report from the Youth Advisory Committee, but kind of following up on that a little bit, came up on the flag coloring contest. We're going to have a draft version of that template for them to review at the next YAC meeting. We're also going to have a draft member application for them to review, and so that way we're ready to go to get it out before the end of the school year in digital and regular forms both.
And are they voting on like who gets this?
No.
No.
No, and they can reapply.
That would be even better if they got to give you their, like, let them look at the applications and give you their opinion.
Well, I mean, that's part of my kind of thought was I want their opinion on the application itself, kind of that angle, like this is what you should ask kind of questions.
Yeah.
And you don't want it to be 8 pages either. It needs to be like 2 pages. And we talked about how we're going to structure it as far as an educational reference and a personal reference. educational, it can be a teacher, but if they're homeschooled, they may have to find somebody in a church setting or otherwise. We can structure that a little bit, but basically we want somebody who's like basically a professional and a personal reference. And since it's a student-based organization, we want to make sure we've got both of those things. Is there anything else we discussed that you had in your notes? I think those were kind of the highlights.
No.
I was going to bring it up later, but I'll bring it up now. We've got it structured so pretty much, and can change. There's two seniors, 2 juniors, 2 sophomores, 2 freshmen. We left it pretty bare bones this first time around because we didn't really know what shape it was going to take. But I've had a little conversation with Josh. I think we should look at setting a positive precedent of doing some sort of small scholarship for the graduating seniors who are going off it. It's really easy for me to say that because the 2 seniors we have on there have really taken it by the reins. They are showrunners. They've been doing the work. I really think, they always show up and they're really they take it seriously. And I don't think it has to be anything extravagant. I don't think we have to put a bunch of strings on it, but I think it'd be nice if we do something.
It's your idea, we take it out of the mayor's pay that he gets every year.
Oh, wow.
I agree.
That's how he funded it.
Is that a motion?
Is that a motion?
It's not a motion. No, I think, I don't know what everyone thinks is appropriate. I know it wasn't budgeted, but I imagine we can find a way to make this happen.
I think that needs to go to the admin and finance committee, that's right up their alley.
Well, I know, I want the whole council's opinion on it, though.
Well,
I think,
Well, I feel like they should discuss it and then bring back their recommendations.
Even if
Isn't that what
it's
the point of these committees are?
$250 per student.
so does everybody agree that the admin and finance committee can look at this then? Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay.
It's a good idea, though. I mean, they're
Good
putting
idea.
in work, they're helping the
Can you put that
community.
in the list? Great.
Are the 2 seniors really?
Yeah, I did that.
They've been on it the very first.
Yep, this is the first year, so it's been, they've really had to
Good
think
thing
about
we drop
it
on
since
you
they
too.
didn't have footsteps to fall in. And talking to some of the other ones, I think we'll get
Well, I
a good
assume
chunk of
it
them
goes there. I'm not
reapply. Like
positive
they'll
where
want
it
to be in
goes.
a second year,
And I
which is
think,
great.
I think the seniors also acted in a way that inspired and got the juniors like excited and
100%.
talkative and getting their mind moving and things.
Oh, yeah.
From what I've seen.
Oh,
from
for
attending.
sure. No, I mean, like they've done a really good job, both of them, so. All right, admin and finance committee will discuss that. So you had nothing else on the YC, right?
I did not.
Okay. I have no appointments nor wage determinations. We do still have the city attorney. Do you want to put the microphone back underneath the laptop so he can talk to us? Hold on 1 second, Luke. We're gonna engineer this again.
Okay.
There we go.
All good?
Almost there.
All right, Luke, can you hear us?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah, not too much besides, of course, working on that agreement. I will add regarding the demolition ordinance, I think the last I had heard that I was just checking my email, March of last year. So if that is something you want me to revisit, I looked at a proposal that they had in Wichita, but beyond that, I haven't heard any update on that. So if you'd like me to dig in on that, and if there's a proposal, I'll be happy to look at that, or if you would want me to draft a proposal to send to you, I can do that as well.
So do we not have a draft proposal?
No, we have the draft
say we
here.
have something.
No, I didn't say it was at Luke. We have a
Oh.
lot of issues with the way the draft
Okay.
is at the
Well,
moment, and I can get that
Can
to
we get-
Luke,
I
so
was
that
gonna
way it
say,
gets reworded.
Luke, if,
Um,
yeah, I'd like to have Luke, you can have eyes on it, but in the meantime, I want the admin and finance committee to go through it. And so don't assume that's the proposal from the council. That's the very rough draft, and we'll give you a better draft from our admin and finance committee. Because, yeah,
Sure.
it'd be great to get that along.
Yep, I can take a look at it, a preliminary sketch, and if I have any initial thoughts to perhaps steer you in a certain or non-certain direction, I can do that.
Okay.
Can I say something?
Yeah.
I'm a little frustrated by that. If we could talk about lines of communication, that would be helpful. I've never heard you say you had concerns. This is something that has been sitting, that came from the design committee. We talked to the council about this a while ago. we forwarded this to you.
You can say that, but we have said multiple times that we have concerns about it and that we don't feel like it's completely covering what we're wanting it to cover.
Okay, then having it sit somewhere
Also,
is
we've
not
also said that
helpful.
it's not a priority on our list because we have these other priorities. And so with council not necessarily telling us that it's a priority, that we need to work on it right at this moment, it has fallen.
Council, you have given us
I may have
direction.
Yes,
misunderstood.
today, council has said that
No,
it needs
let's
to
go
go to
back and look
admin
at,
finance.
I don't mean to be argumentative, but we did come to council about this and asked for their permission, and council said, yes, we want to see something. So I'm not for sure where this got slowed down, but in the grand scheme of things, I'm sure I'm not the only one who hears the slow process at city. This could be an example where let's nip this in the bud and make sure things don't get lost in the cracks.
I would say I was under the impression it was at Luke's.
I was too.
Desk. So that's what I thought, well, I'm sure he's busy, and I thought that was our kind of, I didn't know we were waiting to light a fire under it. But as you say, tonight we're lighting the fire. So I agree. I don't know that I guess there was a communication breakdown all over the place on this because I didn't know, obviously Wayne didn't know. I'm really shocked that it was last March. That's almost a year.
Yes, well, I have been, just so you know, I have been emailing about this regularly.
Yeah, I know.
This is the first time I'm hearing of it, so I'm just making you aware of this. I don't think this is how we should be operating.
No, I agree. I think it should have been addressed. Obviously, it was, I don't know if we have kind of a tabled of unresolved projects like that list. Whenever this kind of thing happens, I go, what else are we not doing? Is there something else that's kind of backburnering and smoldering that we don't know? I mean, I know you said it's not the highest priority on the list. Are there other non-high priority items that we thought we might not understand where they're at?
Depending on what you wanna address.
I
you
asked
know,
about
the
these, like my
SEO
first meeting on
and
why they
the
say.
pub as well.
I feel like we could kill off some of these, but when did the number 5 get added to this?
I don't know that exactly.
I feel like it was
It was
fairly
after March.
Yeah.
Because we
It's
have
been on
talked
every
about
one
it
I've read,
before then.
Well,
Or since-
but that
since
isn't very
then.
many.
Okay.
I think it was brought up, maybe one or two, if I'm remembering correctly, and I may not, so forgive me if I misspeak. But I feel like I believe we have talked about this, but it was during times when, maybe when the 15th Street project was going or something, and I know we said it, I vaguely remember that we talked about it, but the council decided to table because we had something else going on, so I'm not.
It got sent to admin and finance. We read over whatever they originally sent, and then I have no idea.
When was that at Admin Finance?
I don't know. I'd have to go back and
A while.
look. It's been a while.
So it basically got dropped when it
It
should
did,
have.
got-
And
yeah.
Wayne's absolutely correct. He's reached out to me, I don't know how many times on it. And I've been on, I know both of us on some of these communications. And like I said, my understanding has always been that it's been on Luke's desk and Luke's been reviewing it. And I thought it's probably a lot more complicated than I think it is, and that's why it's taking a while. But I did not know it had been that long. I'll own that. But Luke, yeah, absolutely. If you can get, once Josh sends it to your way, if you can kind of get eyes on it and even if you want some off-the-cuff comments and get those back before the Admin Finance Committee meeting, would that be possible for you to do kind of a quick one-over for some comments, just redline a couple things?
When's that finance committee?
We have not said
We
it
haven't
yet.
said it yet. How long do you need? How far down should we?
Hey, that's an attorney's answer, right? Define when that meeting is.
Yes.
It'll only take me, half hour or so to review it. So, yeah, just whenever you can get it over.
If we have an admin finance, because this won't be, obviously we're loading you up tonight. If the admin finance committee meets early, like first of next week, something like that, that's enough time. If Josh sends it over tomorrow.
Sure, yeah, I can have an initial review and, give some initial thoughts.
Okay.
It's no problem.
All right. Well, now that that's aside, what else do you have to share with us tonight?
That is all.
Okay. I do see a need for an executive session tonight to discuss non-elected personnel, if somebody wants to read that in. And we need to review a couple, I'd say, sort of lengthier things, so give it some time. I'd say half an hour to start.
Can we take a 2-minute break?
Yes,
to use
but
the
you can
restroom?
give us a couple minutes break, take coffee and restrooms, that'd be great.
Sure.
Okay.
I move the city council recess into executive session to discuss personnel matters of non-elected personnel discussion on specific personnel matters, not general personnel policies exemption KSA 75-4319B1. This session will include mayor, city council members.
No, nobody else besides
Nobody
that
else,
to start.
yes. The meeting will open, the meeting will resume in the city council chambers at 9:35. Is that acceptable?
Second.
It's moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Josh, will I need to be at the second executive session? Yeah. Hey, Josh.
session where no binding decisions were made. Does anybody see a need for another executive session? Okay, we'll move into council comments. Jeff?
The only thing I had that came up tonight was probably, there's some discussion about the incentive programs for local economic development. I do believe that the neighborhood revitalization program is a county program.
It is.
Based on county taxes. It has nothing to do with obviously it can't touch school district, but it does not affect what is being, any kind of a rebate on city taxes. So I think probably that's where there's no reason we can't develop a program like that and not have to put funds out there. It's just not, we're not gonna pull the tax off the property initially, long-term. Not long-term, short-term. Long-term, we want people to build. And if it takes us 5 years before we get something out of it, that's a great idea. Second thing, the microloans that came up, we are a paying member of the Partnership for Growth, and the Partnership for Growth maintains a very healthy loan program and have helped out several small businesses that have started in the last 10 years. I think we have maybe 8 or 9 on the books right now that are participating. Maybe 6 to 8. It's a good program. We've been pretty successful with it. We've only got burnt one time. So I think we would be better served in making sure we maintain our level of membership in what the only economic development group we have for the county, making sure we maintain our membership at the current level and even possibly in the future increasing it to help, put a little bit more into that fund. So that's really the only thing I have.
That kind of tying on to that, that was one of the other things, I'm not sure where we landed. At the Admin and Finance Committee meeting, we discussed having a sort of like a pamphlet or a little one-pager we could give people when they come in and ask what programs, what incentives. We can be like, Partnership for Growth, this is what they offer, here's how you contact them. County, city, this, basically trying to make sure people have easy access to the tools, because people don't know about it or they don't know where to start, and that would give them kind of a jumping off point. So that's a good call out.
I dropped the ball on the verbiage there.
That was fine.
Because I just said, an emphasis was put on public education.
But that's part of that.
Providing.
Yeah, sorry.
Yes.
No, it was fine. Your notes are great. I'm not criticizing.
I dropped the ball.
I'm not criticizing.
One last thing I would add, I'm waiting for a couple dates for a educational session with Hall Brothers for the street committee and city administration, being Josh and Gary. Once I get those dates, I will get that to Sammy, and we will try to get some messages going out to those individuals and try to put a meeting together. They're very interested in coming in and talking to us, and it doesn't hurt anything to listen. It doesn't cost anything to sit down and listen.
They could do a 1 mile sample. I think that would be a good selling
Well,
point.
I think that would be nice, but I don't think that would happen. And starting to have just some kind of initial conversations with the township and the county on some ideas mainly the county, some ideas for some funding through surface transportation funds that are available. So
that's good.
That's all I have.
All right, thanks. Lori?
Nothing.
Michelle?
Okay, I reached out to Sammy about the electric car plug-ins and different things with some people using them 10, 12 hours. I was told to maybe go to admin and finance on maybe looking at limits to how long you can be plugged into our free electric whatever.
The ones on the highway or the ones at the park?
The one in the park is the main one that you're concerned about, right?
That's the one lately that's been being abused, yes.
The red one? The red
Uh-huh,
car?
yes.
I'm watching.
Yes. I've gotten numerous text photos and I'm like, I know. So That, and then the other thing, and this is probably from a work stance, but when we had the water main break over the weekend, I feel that I don't want to know how many phone calls, and I was wondering, is there any way to put something on Facebook, our webpage, or something to let the people know that, hey, we're aware of the water leak, we have crews, because even when they go back to the shop to get their tools or whatever, they've assessed the situation, they go get what they need. At that point, nobody's seeing them down there. They're afraid they're not coming back, so they're making phone calls. And I was wondering if we could just maybe alleviate some of my workload.
Yeah, we'll work on our communication on that side of things.
Yeah,
And make
if we
sure
could
that.
just put a note out.
What if you just, like, we got a little tent and you stayed on site to talk to them?
And just take my
The
911
happy,
system
the
there
happy
too.
face of the water leak.
Announce it over the emergency response PA system. They were working on it a couple weeks ago and you could hear them talking. It was hilarious.
You are right. You can hear everything they say. But anyway, I didn't know if there was a way to put it, and I don't know who has permission to post things, if
So
that
we
has
will
to be
limit
you.
the amount of people that
Correct,
post.
and as we should,
Yeah.
but I didn't know who had the authority to post. So
Yeah, we'll look into seeing how we need to word it, and we'll make sure that happens.
I would appreciate it.
All right, anything else?
That was self-serving.
I don't think so.
Is that all, Michelle?
Yes, that's all.
Okay, Chris?
Yeah, I've been pretty vocal tonight. I'm gonna keep going. I feel like lately we have a lot of priorities. We start working on priorities and then more priorities pile on top of it, so it's a little overwhelming.
That is the nature
I
of
don't know how we're gonna tackle all of it. It just seems like everything keeps dumping on us. But I do think we have accomplished quite a bit in the last couple of years with 15th Street and things, and I don't know, it'll be interesting to see how we tackle all these big projects that keep coming, but, yeah, I guess we just can't get complacent and have more special meetings. That's what we get the big bucks for.
Right.
But, no, that's it, just, I feel like, yeah, you never know what you sign up for all the time, but it's a great learning experience for sure.
That's a fact.
That's it.
All right, thank you, sir. Kyle?
I have nothing this evening. Thank you.
Keith?
I just want your thoughts what do you think about changing the speed limit from the country club all the way out of town from 45 to 50?
Not with the 11th Road, I wouldn't be in favor, but that's my opinion.
Because right now it's
45.
It's 50 after Valley Vet, or about Valley Vet. Is that when it switches?
Starts 45 at the hotel, I think, just above, like, by your driveway.
Yeah, that's right. And then it's 45 until right after CJ East. I think
Yeah,
that's
see,
where.
11th Road is where it
11th
And it's
changes.
50 until you get further out. So you think you'd,
Just speed the traffic along for people getting out of CJ's and.
We can't get a stoplight at 11th Road, and when
Well,
you-
we had several traffic studies on that.
yeah.
Right, but enough people haven't passed away yet. That is what the state said.
Yeah, the
And-
fatalities were outside the radius of the
Correct.
intersection.
Wow.
And so when you make it 45, people go 50. When you make it 50, people go 55.
And people are already going 50.
Yeah.
My
So-
concern as much as anything might be the trucks going to and from Shop 50 that come off of 11th and they have to get over in the median and then snake over. I don't know, that'd be, the car coming up over that hill at 50 from the west might be coming pretty quick.
And those trucks only
I
go
don't
like
know.
25, right?
Yeah, those yard trucks go, I don't know, what do you guys limit them to? Because they never go fast.
No, they can't go fast.
I think it's 25 is max speed on those.
I don't know.
I think the state would have KDOT would have a big say on us wanting to change it.
Yeah, we'd have to hit up KDOT.
And I don't think KDOT
If
would
it does
allow
get
it.
changed to 50, just enforce this.
They put in.
Bring it up.
Well-
I mean,
There'd be a lot of entrances that would be closed on that road if they were gonna say, yes, you can bump that speed limit up. A lot of these people that have the two entrances to their property are probably gonna get, well, you can have this one, you can have 11th Terrace for your entrance and that's it. There would be a lot of stuff abandoned, so I don't think we wanna go down that road. From a safety standpoint, that's the way they're gonna look at it.
Josh, can you Can you do a little bit of research on what it would take to reconsider it, what the process is for KDOT, just so we know?
Yes, I can. I would say I would be worried about the type of traffic that's on there if we speed it up. I feel like there would just be more accidents. Now, that's not to say that there will, because I don't have any proof of that. But we're already having an issue with congestion there, and I don't think it's because of the slower speed limit. I think it's people rushing.
People not paying.
And then also, you know, the visuals are not great. The hill on the west side, if you're coming from the north on 11th Road, you can't hardly see very far anyway, and you're having to cross traffic. So I'm not sure that it would be in the best interest. However, I will look into it to see what that process is, because we're already wanting to look into it for another highway anyway, so.
Okay, that's all I got.
Great. I just had, I've been walking around town a lot more lately, not just because of beautiful weather, but in general, which has really made it clear to me how many derelict properties we have. I know that's kind of something we're all aware of, but you really don't realize until you start casting a careful eye. I mean, there's blocks at every house could probably be cited. I think we can't waste any time getting code enforcement in place. I think we've got to move forward in that process. I believe we were still at the crafting a job description phase. Is that right, Josh?
Yeah, I can get that to the next admin finance.
I was gonna say, can we add that to the next admin finance call?
Pack your lunch.
I was gonna say, that's gonna be a 6-hour meeting.
I'm glad he types fast. But yeah, if you could, I mean, bring maybe some options or kind of an outline of it, that'd probably be enough, I suppose. But it's with spring coming, it's just gonna, I mean, this stick season, things are ugly enough. And you just, all the falling off porches and yards full of broken lawnmowers. Just, we gotta do something. Yeah, plenty of things to be written. All right, that's all I had.
We adjourn.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? In favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned.